Hey guys, how you guys doing? We got another weekly update, guys. Weekly update coming at you. A lot's going on, this week. A lot goes on every day, to be honest. All right, but we got a couple things I want to talk about that's been going on this week. Big headlines, unless you're looking at the mainstream media, because all they give a shit about is talking trash on Trump, which, there's certain things you could, but, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and caring about different cabinet picks might not be, up there with a potential war between China. You can't say China without saying it like that. In India, and the Declome standoff that's going on. Now, we've talked about this. It's been going on for more than 30 days, guys. This is not something new, even though people are they're just now starting to talk about it. It's insane. Like, this has been going on. Where have you been? But what we've been seeing, is China's the more vocal of the two. India's basically, they're saying the same damn thing they've been saying. India's saying, hey, China came into Bhutanese territory. It's not their land. They're trying to build this road. And India and Bhutan have this sort of defensive pact with each other. So India came in, was like, hey, China, you can't build here because this ain't your land. And China's like, hey, India, you came over here to us. Well, you're in Chinese territory, so you need to leave. And that's basically where we've been at this whole entire time. China's mainstream media, their propaganda machines, come out and stated a lot, war, that India is invading China, that the PLA will basically stomp India's army. Yeah, they've been pretty aggressive and vocal in this whole thing, but both sides have been calling up more and more troops. China's been bringing heavy military hardware into the region, and honestly, it just seems like there's no end in sight. A military conflict, experts, political analysts are coming out and stating that a war between India and China over this, or at least a military conflict spat, something small, is very highly likely because of the amount of troops, and both sides just don't seem to give in at all. And in my opinion, China does seem like the aggressor right now. And you see what China's doing. This brings me into our second point of what's going on this week. We want to talk about China and we want to talk about Russia, because both of these players are making huge moves around the world. We're seeing Russia's largest ever military exercise in their eastern theater, close to 100,000 troops. We all know Russia and China have been working together militarily. China has the South China Sea to deal with. Now this Declome India standoff going on. North Korea is kind of a worldwide problem, though. Russia has been getting in on that also. And I know, guys, I'm bouncing around to China and Russia, but they are very relevant. Everything I say when it comes to Russia and China, I believe is relevant, because I believe that these two powers are working together for their ultimate goal to undermine the West. We've seen Russia give different grain deposits to North Korea as a form of aid. Their trade with North Korea has increased. China's trade with North Korea has increased. Russia and China signed a bill about a month and a half ago. Military cooperation. We saw China then sail warships for the first time ever to the Baltic Sea to conduct exercises with Russia. This is pretty clear stuff, people. Once you start connecting the dots, this is stuff that the mainstream media, they just don't do. They don't connect the dots. But once you start connecting the dots, it's real easy to see that Russia and China are working together in many facets around the world. In more news, we're seeing new allies seem to emerge. You got India and the United States. They're strengthening relations. In turn, China and Pakistan signing a uranium deal. They seem like they're getting closer. An attack between China and Pakistan on India is becoming very likely. It really is. We see Ankara, which the capital of Turkey, Turkey's coming out, and they seem like they're pivoting more towards Russia and China than they are the West. You know, they're NATO allies because Turkey's a member of NATO. I don't know why the hell we're still allies with them, but, you know, they're getting military hardware, S-400s from Russia. They seem to like they're doing a lot more trade with China. It's a crazy situation. The world's a changing here, people. And that brings me to another point, which is all these sanctions that the United States government is putting on Russia, North Korea, and Iran. All right, and honestly, when you say North Korea, they're basically going to be sanctioning China as well. And this is causing a sort of a trade war. All right, and trade wars can be effective in certain situations, but they are highly lethal in others. And what I mean by that is trade wars can spark real wars. Because, 95% of the wars that have gone on over the past 500 years have been about what? Money. Money and power. And money and power are very relevant to each other. So trade wars that we have going on between the United States and China, and then the United States and Russia with a little EU mixed in there. That's some EU drama going on as well. Those could spark into actual conflicts. So what we're seeing is the breakdown of certain alliances, sanctions being thrown around. And this is a Republican Congress doing this, but honestly, it seems like a bipartisan matter. These politicians are throwing these sanctions around and these punishments on these different countries at will, honestly, without thinking of the consequences, in my mind. We want better relations with China and Russia. All right, I can understand the politicians, the officials, the general stance on North Korea to a point, but we want better relations with Russia and China, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get that when we do these economic sanctions against these countries. But, what do I know? That's just basic logic in my mind. I might be wrong, though. There's a lot going on, guys, over this past week. And if I seem like I'm rambling on, I try to do these videos in one take without really writing anything down. Just, things I'm reading on my computer. But it's insane. North Korea, if we're going to talk about North Korea also, developing a H-bomb. One expert saying that if they detonated in the United States, it could kill 1.79 million people. So North Korea, like we know this situation isn't going to end peacefully. We've been saying it. H.R. McMaster had an interview today with MSNBC, and he reiterated that the military option was definitely on the table. He reiterated that Trump is not going to stand idly by. I mean, he said that Trump has been saying these things. So when people, all these news outlets, mainstream media come out and say, "Wow, North Korea, oh my God, are we going to have a war with them?" Dude, our politicians, Trump and his administration, look like they're pushing for a war. This is insane. He's like, well, I mean, we've been saying it. Like, Trump has been saying that they need to do certain things, or he would act unilaterally or with a military strike on their different missile depots and nuclear facilities. And it boggles my mind that this North Korea situation has been going on for months. And the mainstream media, seems to pick and choose when they want to talk about it because it's part of their agenda. But once again, I don't believe that the North Korea situation is going to die out peacefully. All right, Kim Jong-un just doesn't seem to want to play ball. When Russia and China came out and stated, "Hey, U.S., South Korea, Japan, stop your exercises," and then North Korea will stop the missile tests, and you could stop them there. At that point, I'm like, okay, I could totally get behind that. But then, like a day later, North Korea's mainstream media propaganda machine came out and stated that their missiles and their nuclear facilities they won't even be brought to the table, even if North Korea is brought to the table at some point. It's crazy. So it definitely looks like we are inching closer to war with North Korea. Oh, also, if you missed the update this past week, it seems like we're going to be sending 2 aircraft carriers to Korean waters, maybe even a nuclear sub. Also, South Korean sources have been reported to say that. Other news, we have in the South China Sea, when it comes to China, them threatening Vietnam. See, China is kind of spreading themselves out a lot. They've become a little expansionist over the past year or two, especially with the South China Sea. And now they have several different issues to deal with. And this is why I think we're ramping up to something big. Because China's dealing with the whole North Korea situation. They're dealing with South China Sea, with India. And what do you do when you face multiple fronts like that? Well, you make allies, and you make powerful allies. And that's what we're seeing with Russia. Russia's dealing with the same thing with Syria, Ukraine, every little spat that they have with NATO. You know, like I've been saying, guys, the lines are being drawn in the sand. It's not hard to see which side each country will be on. There's different powers to be, and they're lining up for something big. All right, guys. I think that's all I got in the tank right now. If there's something I missed, put it down in the comments, guys. Let me know. Say, hey, you idiot, you forgot to talk about this. But of course, as more information comes out, guys, we'll talk about it. We're here to seek the truth. We're here to inform you, not to tell you what you have to think. We are not the mainstream media. Make sure you guys check back. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends and family about this information because people need to know. All right, keep your eyes to the skies, guys. Keep praying.